everyone, and welcome to the Lunch Hour Sports Podcast. Here with your hosts, Jacob Smedley,
Sam Betts,
Justin Rehammer,
and Nathan Romanoff.
Today we got an action-packed day of topics. We've got some NBA Finals action, some NFL drama around where Aaron Rodgers will be playing this upcoming season, and we've got some soccer, some baseball All-Star Game, and some hockey. The Stanley Cup Finals is over. Action-packed episode for you. Sam, what is going on with the NBA Finals?
Jake, we're pretty much in the thick of the NBA Finals right now, as the first two games have already been gone through, and now tonight is the third game of the NBA Finals. The Suns and the Bucks are in the NBA Finals this year, and the Suns are up 2-0 against the Bucks, which is very surprising. A lot of people, I've seen Giannis Antetokounmpo, I've seen this Bucks team, and they think that the Bucks would kind of be on top. But the Suns have really turned it around, especially during the regular season, and now in the finals, they are going full force and are looking to win a championship. If we look at Game 1 here, Game 1 was on July 6th. The Suns won 118-105, and pretty much the Suns had the game the whole time. They're pretty much in the lead. There was one or two instances maybe where the Bucks were tied with the Suns, but the Suns were a very dominant team in this first game, and it shows in the stat lines here. We have multiple guys in the starting lineup with double-digit points, except for Jay Crowder, who had 1 point and shot 0 of 8, which was, he had 9 rebounds, but why don't we talk about Chris Paul? Chris Paul has been amazing in the playoffs. I especially like how he's able to get inside the three-point line and make a lot of mid-range jumpers. And I like it. Well, there's one thing I really like about Chris Paul and what he does.
Just one thing, Sam.
There's one thing in particular.
Name at least 3 good things about Chris
there's
Paul.
There's one thing in particular I really like. When he comes in, when he dribbles the ball into the inside of the paint. He looks around to see if there's anyone open. Looks around. If he sees like an open guy, he's going to pass it to him. If he doesn't, he's going to be able to find, there's a specific spot where he likes to shoot from, and it's right where the free throw line is, right at the edge of where the paint is, where it matches up with the free throw line, right there. And he's able to just make a bunch of jump shots from that point, and the Bucks can't stop him. He had 32 points and shot 12 of 19 from the field there. He also shot 4-7 from the 3 and had 9 assists. I especially like it when he is able to shoot from that 3-point spot too, because that's just extra. Those are those extra points, and he could just shoot from everywhere. It's just so nice to see him like really take charge of the Suns team, and he's able to pass the ball. He's able to shoot from anywhere, and he's that big leadership. He's that leadership that the Suns really needed to kind of take them to this point.
And also to add on to, you talk about the offensive side of the ball where he's a playmaker, shooter, controls the offense, runs that pick and roll to get into his spots, like you say. I'm going to look on the defensive side. What he does defensively, point guard may be overlooked, of course. You can argue with his height, doesn't have maybe as much of an impact as DeAndre Ayton in the middle, but he's a guy that controls the defensive schemes, make sure everyone's in the right positions, guarding the right guys, and he's one of the better defensive point guards in the league. So just an excellent two-way player, can get to any shot on the floor and can defend his own against really one through 3 on the floor, I would say, and he's been a key in the Suns, not only in the finals, but throughout the playoffs so far.
Most definitely, Jake. And Devin Booker, kind of his co-star here, had 27 points. He shot 8 of 21, 1 from 8 from the 3, which isn't really the greatest, but still putting up 27 points. And Devin Booker didn't even really need to shoot that well. DeAndre Ayton with 22 points, and Michael Bridges with 14 points. And especially with Cameron Payne and Cam Johnson both having 10 points off the bench, that's just some extra points that the Suns needed to take the lead throughout the entire game, and also to just be dominant for this Game 1. The Bucks had some problems, though. The Bucks were really good at spreading the ball around, especially after Giannis kind of had that scare with the knee hyperextension. He was able to come back for Game 1 and played fairly well, had 20 points, shot 11 of 8 with 17 rebounds. Chris Middleton, though, kind of Giannis Antetokounmpo's co-star, had to take on most of the workload as kind of Giannis, like, still coming back, like, couldn't really fully develop into the superstar that we've seen. Had 29 points, shot 12 of 26 from the field, which is really nice, and also had 7 rebounds. Then you had Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday. Brook Lopez, we saw against the Atlanta Hawks, had that big, like, 30-plus point game and was able to kind of take over when Giannis went down. However, his scoring, he was able to make a lot of threes, 3 for 5 from the line, but from the three-point line, but only had 17 points. And Drew Holiday shooting 4 of 14 with only 10 points. That's gonna hurt that hurts the Bucks a lot, because while they were able to really spread around the scoring fairly nicely, it wasn't enough to kind of take the lead, or even to, like, have any sort of control in the game. It's going to be down to whether Giannis either takes over or they're able to spread the ball around and have everyone score effectively. And then PJ Tucker only having around, like, 7-ish points a game, not even reaching double-digit points, is going to be tough too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I saw a lot of stuff where people were criticizing, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. Of course, those guys have to step up and play better if this Bucks team is going to, at this point in the series, come back and win. But I mean, I'm also looking at how much has Chris Middleton meant to the Bucks in this playoffs. I mean, he was the one that really shot the lights out at the end of that Hawks series. Even going back to the Nets series, he played really well at the end and hit that go-ahead shot in overtime that I saw. I mean, yeah, I think a few of these guys are just taking a few games to adjust. The Suns are a very good defensive team. I'm not taking too much stock. I think we're going to see in Game 3, if they have another poor performance like they've had so far in these first 2 games, that's going to be really concerning at home. But I think that they're going to get it together tonight. PJ Tucker, I think that around 7 to 12 points is what he's going to give you. More of that rugged defensive player who's going to come in, bring a lot of energy. But yeah, I'm
right.
not worried too much. Giannis is going to give you his numbers, and I think Middleton and Drew Holiday will start to get it going.
And I know that's PJ Tucker's role. PJ Tucker has never been, like, a major scoring machine. He's been the guy who's going to get the rebounds. He's going to be good defensively. He'll get you a bucket or two, and that's nice.
Sam, I think we can agree on one thing. If Middleton and Holiday don't step up, the Bucks don't win the series.
They've
got to turn it around.
You're right.
So we all know that's what they have to step up.
They need Brook Lopez to step up too, because Brook Lopez has been shooting the ball really well. He shot the ball really well in this first game. Not necessarily so much in the second game, but they need someone to take more shots and to make more points.
They can't afford to drop Game 3.
We know Brook Lopez can score the ball. We've seen it. We saw it. I also want to consider maybe Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis came off the bench. He's been coming off the bench for the Bucks. He's been instrumental coming off the bench. He also started in that game when Giannis was hurt against the Hawks and had 22 points, 8 rebounds. Do the Bucks maybe want to consider putting Bobby Portis at that power forward position instead of PJ Tucker? I don't know, because PJ Tucker is doing really well at his job right now. But you also see in games, you'll see in the highlights of games, and if you've been watching the playoff series, PJ Tucker kind of gets bullied around by some of the taller guys. DeAndre Ayton has been kind of down there, and I mean, when Brook Lopez isn't on him, the next guy who gets him is either Giannis, who might be guarded by someone else or is doing something else, or you have PJ Tucker, and PJ Tucker gets bullied, only being 6'5" and having to kind of play in that small forward, power forward position. So maybe having the 6'10" Bobby Portis, seeing how he's scored, seeing that Bobby Portis has been in the league in a while, and he's been able to score some decent amount of points throughout his tenure. It's just a hypothesis. I don't think the Bucks are going to go with it, but it could just be something just to talk about.
But as Jake said earlier, Tucker's role is to play defense, to be that gritty defensive player. I mean, he took the responsibility to guard Kevin Durant for most of that series against the Nets, and he did a pretty good job. And I like having Portis come off the bench and being your main, 6-man bench scorer, because you're going to need that, especially if, say, Middleton or Holiday, are off. One of them's off during, like they have been the past 2 games. Now, hopefully at home they'll shoot the ball better than on the road, but they definitely need to do that if they want to get back in the series.
Sam, I think I got Coach Budenholzer on the phone. I think maybe he's looking for you an assistant job with your lineup changes here. But yeah, I think I agree with Nate, and I think looking at this series big picture can tell you something about NBA teams. Both of these teams got to the finals because of depth. Cameron Payne has been probably the sixth man of the playoffs for the Suns, playing great minutes coming off the bench. They have Kaminsky. Unfortunately, Dario Saric, my man Saric, out for the rest of the finals with that injury. He's been playing well off the bench. Cam Johnson as well. Both of these teams, Portis, as you guys mentioned, both of these teams have a lot of guys, Bryn Forbes as well, that can come off the bench and score. So I think that's really a testament to both of these teams. Their depth has been tested, and they've been able to get to the finals because of that depth.
Yeah, and just kind of, you said Cam Johnson. I believe one of the announcers for Game 1 said Cam Johnson has one of the best shots in the NBA, which, I mean, it's very smooth. Anyways, let's go on to Game 2 here. I believe this was July 8th. The Suns won 118 to 108. The Bucks were able to increase their score by 3 points. However, the Suns still kept strong at 118 and were able to win this game. Devin Booker kind of took over this game. You saw Chris Paul in Game 1 had the most points. Devin Booker had 31, shot 12 of 25, and 7 from 12 from the three-point line. Very, very nice shooting from the three. Mikal Bridges, 27 points, 8 of 15 overall, 7 rebounds, 1 steal. I mean, this is going to be important for guys like Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, because we all know that Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, even though DeAndre Ayton only had 10 points this game, it's going to be important for Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder to kind of score, and that's definitely one of the ways I think that the Suns were able to kind of maintain this lead too, even though the Bucks kind of came out firing pretty early in the first quarter. Mikal Bridges, like I said, 27 points. Jay Crowder, after only having 1 point in the last game, had 11 and shot 4 of 8, especially 3 of 5 from the three-point line as well, which was definitely a big turnaround and definitely helped this Suns team keep the scoring going on. The Bucks, they tried a different strategy. Kendrick Perkins has said on the interview, Mike Budenholzer likes to play a free-flowing game, kind of just likes guys to space the ball out. But they tried something a little different here. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 42 points and shot 15 of 22 with 17 rebounds, 3 blocks, and a steal, which is great. But this is another thing that a lot of people have been ragging Giannis on. Giannis shot 1 of 5 from the three-point line. We all know that we want Ben Simmons to shoot the ball more. A lot of people want Giannis to shoot the ball.
Bringing Ben Simmons up in this finals.
Ben Simmons has been torn to shreds by a lot of people recently. A lot of people want Ben Simmons to shoot the ball more. A lot of people want Giannis to shoot the ball less, especially outside the three-point line. Obviously, 15 to 22, we all know Giannis's game is kind of getting inside the three-point line, shooting a lot of good mid-range shots, going to the basket, maybe getting a couple turnaround layups or jump shots, something like that. The three-point game is not really Giannis's game right now. I mean, he shot 1 of 2 from the three-point line. That's fine. Shooting 2 shots from the three-point line is okay, and making 1, cool. Shooting 5 shots from the three-point line. I understand that your team needs the win, but you need guys like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez to shoot those threes. However, Giannis didn't really have too much help in this second game here. Drew Holiday, 17 points, shot 7 of 21, had 7 assists. Was very good defensively, though, had 2 blocks and 2 steals. Chris Middleton, 11 points, shot 5 of 16, 1 of 6 from the 3, had 2 steals, 8 assists. Brook Lopez, 8 points, shot 4 of 10, 40%, just to make that clear. 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. They're doing really well defensively. Pat Connaughton, coming off the bench, had 14 points, shot 5 of 10, 4 of 9 from 3, had 7 rebounds. So we see Pat Connaughton coming off the bench, shooting fairly decently, but Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, obviously Chris Middleton having to take on a little bit more responsibility. You can see this is just one of those games where it's like he just kind of cooled down a little bit. Brook Lopez kind of cooled down a little here too, shooting 4 of 10 with only 8 points. The Bucks want to win. They need to either stick to the first game where they spread out the points a little bit more. Obviously, giving it to Giannis and having him score 42 points is really nice, but they need the other guy. But I think it's going to come down to the other guy stepping up. I think if the Bucks want to win, they need Drew Holiday to score 20+ points. They need Middleton to score 20+ points. Maybe not necessarily Brook Lopez, but then have a guy maybe like Pat Connaughton, or maybe have Bobby Portis both have 10 points off the bench. It's just about they're playing really well defensively. I think these teams are. I mean, you see like Drew Holiday, 2 blocks and 2 steals. Brook Lopez, 2 blocks, 2 steals. They're playing well defensively. They need to score the ball, and they need some guys to step up.
Yeah, and I think we've also discussed this as well. That's what's going to come down to decide this series. And, I mean, I look at the 1 for 5 from Giannis, and I think he might be, like you kind of hinted at, overcompensating a bit due to the lack of performance.
Like Russell Westbrook, maybe.
He's going to make most of his shots inside. The outside, of course, it's a struggle. Same with the free throw, with the timer and all of that. But yeah, I think it's going to be the role players. I think while you look at the star power on both of these teams, looking at the Suns and the Bucks, you have Booker, Paul, Ayton, the way he's playing on the Suns. You've got the Bucks with Giannis, Middleton, Drew Holiday. I think it's going to come down to the role players, which role players can be the most consistent in assisting the stars. And so far, the Suns have been, with Booker's struggles so far in the first 2 games. Chris Paul has played very well, but you've had guys like Mikal Bridges, who, it pains me, drafted by the Sixers, traded on draft night, the Villanova kid, but he played very well. Those are going to be the kind of guys. Bobby Portis, a guy, again, we've talked about so far in this segment, needs to step up. Those support players are, I think, what's going to decide this series.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, like, Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder are role players, essentially, for this team. But, I mean, if Mikal Bridges can score 27 points and if Jay Crowder can get double-digit points, that's going to help this team. I think Cam Johnson and Cameron Payne didn't even have double-digit points, but they just still have that presence on the court where they can score at any time. And that's really helpful for when you have Giannis just kind of taking over here and the other Bucks starters are kind of dragging here. Not that they haven't been dragging the whole series, but it's just kind of now you see like what the long-lasting effects of not having Giannis for a certain amount of period has. It's tiring, but it's interesting. And I think we're gonna see the Suns kind of take this series, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to take it.
I was going to say, are we doing some finals
They're not going to
predictions,
sweep.
Sam?
I don't think the Suns are going to sweep. I definitely think the Bucks will take maybe 1 or 2.
Suns in 4. No.
Suns in 4. We got the
Suns in 4.
Get your 4s up, guys. Oh. But I definitely think that if we see things the way they're continuing, I think we're going to see the Suns as the NBA champions here.
That's your prediction, Sam?
I believe that is my prediction.
How many? Is it 4, 5?
I believe I'm gonna go with 5. I'm gonna give the Bucks 1. I believe
5?
the Bucks can turn.
Nate, well, you going with Suns in 4? Is that your prediction?
Close, but no. The Suns will win the series, though. Chris Paul. This is Chris Paul's championship right now. He's making it his. The Suns are gonna win it. I think the Bucks get 1 at home, but I agree with Sam. Suns in 5.
You know what? I mean, I could go with the peanut gallery here, Suns in 5, but you know what? That would not be fun, would it? Because I am going with Suns in 4. This week, the Bucks don't get a game. Let's go. Me and this guy that gained all that following on the internet.
I don't know what you're talking about. Suns in 6, guys. Let's be real.
All right, there we
okay.
go, Justin.
Okay.
Justin with the nice pick there. Speaking of Justin, thank you, Sam, for the NBA recap. Speaking of Justin, what's going on with Aaron Rodgers while he's beating Tom Brady on the golf course? Where's he going to be this upcoming season, Justin?
Interesting that you mentioned the golf course there, Jacob. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. When you think about, the Green Bay Packers quarterbacks, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Either Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers. I think of Aaron Rodgers for sure. And
I think of the discount double check, dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a reason, though, because Aaron Rodgers, he has been a stout guy for that Green Bay team. They've been incredible with him, at the helm. He's been great. He won the MVP award last season, as we all saw, and he was just great. But it's sad to say, but he's probably going to be moving on, and it's unfortunate for that Green Bay team moving on without for one of the best guys in the league right now. Basically, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you through a few of the steps as to why this has happened, and maybe we'll see about where he's going to end up, Maybe make a few predictions. But first, how things got this bad. So, at first, it started in April of 2019 when the Green Bay Packers management decided to host a few quarterback prospects, namely Drew Lock, who is now at the Denver Broncos. And Aaron Rodgers was not feeling that. He was kind of a little confused. They didn't act on it at the time. However, in February of 2020, the GM of the Packers said that he would be open to drafting a quarterback. And in April, of course, of that year, we saw him trade up from pick number 30 to 26 to draft quarterback Jordan Love, who was a top prospect in that draft. And it's crazy because Aaron Rodgers could have used tons of support. He could have gotten another receiver. They could have given him an O-lineman. They could have done anything to help him out. He's got 5 years left on his career at least. He could have more even. And they're drafting his replacement. Of course, this would upset several guys, but it doesn't just stop there, guys. Aaron Rodgers was asked whether he liked his receiving core, and he said that he loved his top 4 guys, which at the time was Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, Marcus Valdes-Scantling, and Jake Kumerow. However, literally the day after he says this, Jake Kumerow is cut, and 4 days later signs with the Bills. So already then, Aaron Rodgers is getting a little upset, and he even later comments on it when asked about the trade deadline. He says, yeah, I was asked about, which guys could help us out, trading for people. And he said that he wasn't going to tell them anybody because last time he said somebody, they went to Buffalo. Fast forward again to right after the loss of the NFC Championship. And he says his career up in Packers territory, it's over. He said that his dream of wanting to start and end his career in the same place is pretty much not a reality. And it seems entirely likely that he will not return, at least the way that he says it. However, if you continue along the line, you see Packers management trying to correct what they've done. They instead draft a cornerback this season, and they even have gone on the record saying that they hope that ties with Aaron can be healed, as he is now shown to be the MVP of the league in 2020. And that's pretty much where we're all caught up. Aaron Rodgers, he's not happy, and he's even shown that by not showing up to OTAs. He's not showing up to anything voluntary, and he's pretty much gone on radio silence at this point. He's golfing right now. That's exactly what he's doing. So it's interesting that he's not really engaging with the team or the media about this situation, and it leads us to believe that he might not play for the Packers next season, which begs the question, where's he going to be next? To which I say, what do you guys think?
Oh man, that is tough. We were discussing it in the break, but I mean, I don't know. It is tough at this point in time to pick. I think the Broncos, Nate, have the have the best package of young talent.
That's the
They
problem.
could give the Packers in terms of young players that the Packers can get in return, and picks. But, I think they're up for grabs. You could look at maybe the Raiders, too, in a division. I think those were two teams that were looking at. I'll say the Broncos. I say the Broncos, they have young talent they might have to part with, but you're getting an MVP caliber player with a young defense, shoots them right into playoff conversation, just to name a team here.
Yeah, I like that you said the Broncos, because I have the Broncos on my list too, because they have a lot of that young talent they can give up. Playing without a solid quarterback in a division with Mahomes, you're not going to win. That's just the bottom line. But when you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers in there, all of a sudden, game changer. You could end up even taking the division, which you'd have to be really good, of course. But it's possible at that point. So I think that if the Denver Broncos went for Aaron Rodgers to be a great move. I also can see the Raiders going for Rodgers, getting a MVP caliber quarterback in there could really help their system. I also thought on the NFC side that the Panthers and the Saints are two teams that I thought might go for him. Because the Panthers themselves, they went for Wilson when they thought there was some unrest there. So it's potential that they could go for Rodgers too if there's an opening. And the Saints, after
what an offense that would be.
I
What an
know.
off season for the Panthers. Getting Rodgers too, that would be crazy.
Well, they just got Darnold though, so I don't see the Panthers really in the market for Rodgers personally. As it pertains to my Broncos,
well, I get what you're saying, but you're getting the MVP of last season versus
I understand,
Sam
but
Darnold,
I don't know what you're going to give up if you're the Panthers.
You can give up Sam Darnold. I mean,
Sam Darnold.
Sam
picks.
Darnold and picks.
Give up Big Purr, whatever his name is, the mascot. Well,
yeah.
some
That's not
Carolina's
from a
finest.
Packers perspective, though. That's not a good enough package for me. Sam Darnold and picks is not good enough.
All right,
Wow.
it's fair.
They have some young players too. I mean,
They do, but
I think
you
the
give up
Broncos
those-
have the best package of young players, like KJ
Yeah.
Hamler, for example. Of course, I know you don't want to part with him, but
Exactly.
guys like that who
And
have
from-
a high ceiling.
I mean, and when it comes to the Broncos, I'll say this: the Broncos' quarterback situation is not good by any means necessary. But you're right; they do have the best, available young players to offer to the Packers, probably of any team. But the problem is, if we give those up, what is Rodgers coming into, really? I mean, you need those young players to build a foundation. I'd rather, stick with those guys. Oh, I want Rodgers. It's tough. I don't want to give up those young pieces. You need those young pieces to build a team. A team's not just one player. You need the team. You need the receivers. We just drafted, what's his name? I can't even remember it, from Alabama. Jake, you remember?
I know Jerry Judy.
Quarterback.
Jerry,
Yeah, we drafted Jerry Judy the other year, and then
Surtain,
Patrick
quarterback.
Surtain. Yes, we drafted him at cornerback. Those are young pieces that I wouldn't want to part with. It's just tough from a Denver standpoint, giving up those pieces for Rodgers. It's a tough situation. I don't see it happening. We got Drew Lock. Not a big fan of him, but we also have Teddy Bridgewater now. I feel like that's a bridge quarterback, someone that you could put in for a year or two maybe, and then see what else you could do at quarterback. I don't know. I don't see Rodgers coming to Denver.
Yeah, I mean, you make some good points there, Nate. Another team, like I said, the New Orleans Saints, coming off of the future Hall of Famer in Drew Brees, now retired. They need somebody. I'm not sure if they have what it takes to get him, but it'd be interesting if he went over there. That's a win-now team, and if they had Rodgers, they could be in the running for a Super Bowl pretty much.
I'm thinking maybe they could some form of maybe like a Taysom Hill, maybe throw in Lattimore to sweeten it, perhaps. Picks involved, of course. But yeah, I mean, you have one kind of Hall of Famer out the door, and then you bring in, quite honestly, another one. I mean, that would be a very interesting scenario. I'm under the impression that he might get traded to the West Coast. That's why I think those are even more.
That's where he wants to go personally.
Yeah,
That's been reported that he wants to go out west.
But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on, and whichever team he goes, if he holds out even, it just continues to hold out like this until a move is made, would be very interesting.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. But I also want to ask then, if you don't know where he's going to go, what do you think the chances are that he stays?
Oh man, we doing this 0 to 100% kind of thing?
Yeah, let's go with that.
I'll go 35% that he stays. I think the situation is it's not looking good. There is blood in the water, metaphorically, and I think that if that's the correct metaphor, it may not be, but I think he's out. 35%. Not too high, not too low.
You're putting this is a tough question. I'll go 45. I would have gone 50-50 because who really knows at this point. But I'll go 45 just because the situation is pretty bad. And he's obviously not happy. So I'll give it a 45% chance that he stays in Green Bay.
Listen, I'll split the difference there. I'll go 40%. I feel like he doesn't want to stay, but if he absolutely has to, I think he will. But a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who he loves to play, he's so competitive. to have him miss OTAs, have him miss voluntary meetings and stuff like this, it does not bode well for the organization, especially when he really wants to just get out there and win. So I just don't see him coming back, but I do think that if he absolutely has to, he will. However, I also wanted to entertain the thought that he might go one more spot, and that would be to Jeopardy and not football. He could retire.
Wow. Just sugar-coated all that competitive stuff in there and then threw in Jeopardy. Wow.
Well, it's possible. He has said that he would like to become the full-time host of Jeopardy if they would have him, which I think they loved him being on. And if he decides that his career is over and that he's done, then he might decide just to go retire and go to Jeopardy,
Wait, that's filmed out in the West Coast, right?
Yeah. LA,
Well, that should do it. Aaron Rodgers definitely will monitor where he will be playing next season. The MLB All-Star Game is coming up in a few days. We're going back to you, Sam. What's going on? What's going on with the MLB All-Star Game? Weird episode we got here.
Well, currently I'm watching the NL and AL All-Star Futures game right now. The NL is currently winning 8-0 in the top of the 7th. That's going on right now. I believe Riley Green is up to bat, top prospect for the Tigers, and I believe Jake Eder is up for the NL pitching right now. He's with the Marlins. He currently has a 1.33 ERA, the lowest in the minor leagues right now, I'm pretty sure. That is a pretty low ERA for a minor leaguer, and that is very good. The main event, the main All-Star Game, is on Tuesday. We will be seeing the NL take on the AL. A lot of top guys that we may even be seeing for the Phillies, Jake. We may even be seeing Zach Wheeler and JT Realmuto being the starting duo together, as Zach Wheeler will take the mound and JT Realmuto be behind the plate. Obviously, we've had some players not want to play in the All-Star Game. Jacob deGrom has decided not to be a part of there. We had a couple injuries with some AL guys like Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, maybe injuries / not wanting to play. We're not really sure because the Astros still some bad blood with the 2017 World Series. So whether they want to play or whether they're afraid of being booed at by thousands of fans is up for debate, but they've decided to exit the All-Star Game. We do have a couple nice players coming in. Jesse Winker making his first All-Star Game for the as a representative of the Cincinnati Reds has been pretty nice this year. He's batting up in the upper 300s, has been mashing the ball. Nice to see him play. Nick Castellanos, his teammate on the other side of the outfield, has also been mashing the ball. Has been pretty nice player as well. So many players going on. Shohei Ohtani has decided to play for both pitching and also to bat as well for the AL side. What do you think about that, Jake? What do you think about Ohtani playing both sides? And also being in the home run derby, too.
Unreal. I mean, otherworldly, you could say. 33 home runs at this point. I mean, he's pitching at an all-star Cy Young level. I mean, I'm so excited to watch him both pitch and hit in that game, give the NL a little taste of what the American League has had to deal with for this first half. I mean, so talented. And, I mean, it's unfortunately the Angels are in their position that they are, but he is definitely not the reason that they have been playing better as of late, and he is a main reason of it, hitting balls out nearly every game now, pitching at a great level. I mean, he is such a treat to watch. Can't wait to see him both pitch and hit among some of the league's best.
He's also in the home run derby, too, as he is in the number 1 spot in the bracket for the home run derby.
Rightfully so, leading the league in dingers. Doing it all. Shohei.
Also in that home run derby will be Joey Gallo, who will just tear the cover off the ball, as he usually will have 30-plus home runs a season, usually with a lower batting average and around the 200, 220 level, but can definitely hit the ball out of the park at any moment. We also have Trey Mancini coming in, a major comeback story, as before the season had some difficulties with colon cancer, but then was able to come into this season, and he has been playing very well, definitely deserving of a spot in the home run derby and who knows, maybe you could even win it. I don't know, because with Joey Gallo and Shohei Ohtani, it might be very tough, but it's definitely a possibility, and I'm sure a lot of fans would like to see that. Also in the home run derby, we have Juan Soto, who only has 11 home runs this year, but I mean, we've seen him.
He did miss time at the beginning of the year, though. He was out for a few weeks. I give him.
Which is true. That's very true. But we may see him. We may see him kind of try to pick it up, maybe even after the All-Star break. Trevor Story, it was also in the home run derby, and I'm missing someone.
Salvador
Perez of the Kansas City Royals, big catcher who has also been known to tear the cover off the ball, will also be in the home run derby as well. It's a very good match. It's a very good group of guys, a very good group of stars in the MLB, and I think that Joey Gallo is going to win this one. Joey Gallo has just been able to tear the cover off the ball time and time again. Has had 30-plus home runs in a decent amount of times in his career. I believe that he will win it. Obviously, we have to think about Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is going to be pitching because he's going to be in the home run derby, which is going to be before the game. And then we might have to see how that affects his performance in the All-Star game, because that usually takes a lot out of guys. But Shohei Ohtani, I think, will give up a pretty good fight, but I think Joey Gallo in the end wins it. Who do you think, Jake?
Oh, wow. Joey Gallo, Sam. All right. I'll go with, I know Pete Alonso's also in
Pete Alonso. I forgot about Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso's defending his crown, and I forgot about it. Yes, Pete Alonso has decided to return also to the home run derby, defending his crown from 2019 from his historic rookie season after he hit 50-plus home runs and took over the rookie home run record. Obviously, he wasn't able to do it last season because of COVID and the shortened season. Now he comes back to reclaim his crown.
Yeah,
Who do you think, Jake?
I think, you went with Joey Gallo, considering the field. You got Trevor Story, the hometown guy. Can he get it done? Oh, man. I mean, what I want, and we've discussed this, but what I want is Mancini Ohtani in the finals.
Yes,
Mancini
I would like to
wins.
see Mancini win it
story.
too.
That would be so great. But who I think is gonna win, you know what? Since we brought his name up, may despise the Mets with all my heart, but I'm going to go with Pete Alonso. He defends his championship and he wins it. A kind of underdog makes it to the finals and wins it.
Good choice.
Bold, perhaps, but
I think that's not too far. I don't think that's too far out of reach there for that to be a possibility. But I mean, we have a lot of guys in the home run derby. Who do you think takes the All-Star game, Jake? Do you think the NL finally wins it after a couple of years, or do you think the AL kind of takes it as we've seen in the past couple of years as usual?
I think I don't know. We brought up Salvador Perez, kind of started to get me thinking about almost a revelation with some of these voters, some of these guys back in there, Buster Posey, Salvador Perez, some of these veterans that are having resurgences rather to get back into the All-Star game. Oh man, both of these teams, NL. Very rough blow. Prayers out to Ronald Acuna Jr., who will miss the All-Star game with an ACL tear. Prayers up to him for a speedy recovery. But yeah, both teams full of talent. Oh, man. I am going to go with the National League. National League pride, stand up. I'm going with the National League. They're gonna rally behind this game. They're gonna win. They're gonna come from behind. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Come from behind in the game to win it. You can book it. Do not trust money, though, with my statement, but that's what I'm going with.
I don't know, Jake. I think I'm just going to have to go with the AL. The AL has been very dominant the past couple of years. I mean, constantly. I'm obviously, with being a Phillies fan, I am a big NL guy. I'd like to see the NL win, but the AL is
Wheeler,
so
Zach Wheeler,
powerful.
the All-Star W.
I'm just glad that the Phillies had two All-Stars this year instead of just one, but I believe the AL takes it.
All right, the MLB All-Star Game is upon us. But a league just finished up their championship, the Stanley Cup Championship. It came down to the Lightning, the Canadians, the underdog, the the almost favorite, you could say, going into the whole playoffs. And while the underdog story was nice, it did end in the Stanley Cup Finals as the Tampa Bay Lightning won it all, and back-to-back Stanley Cup champions now for Tampa, the city of champions. Nate, what went on in the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yes, indeed, Jake. The Stanley Cup Finals have come to a close with Tampa Bay going back-to-back, winning this past series in 5. You know, I didn't think the Canadiens really stood a chance from the beginning, honestly. But, you know, seeing as it is, they put up a good fight. Nobody really expected them to get to this point. They were an underdog. It wasn't much that they could really do against who I think is the best team in the league. Let's be honest. They are the best team in the league. You look at their roster. You have the best goalie, the best defenseman, probably a top 3 forward, in my opinion, when he's healthy, in Nikita Kucherov. It all panned out for Tampa Bay, and they took it in 5. You know, getting a 1-0 win in the final game. Carey Price, you know, he played his heart out, but just wasn't enough. They just had too much firepower for him to handle.
Yeah, one of those guys, we were talking about Chris Paul earlier in the NBA. I mean, Carey Price, one of those guys in the NHL, you want to see him win that cup before he hangs up the skates. I mean, one of the greatest goalies since I've really started watching the game. But yeah, the Lightning are coming at him with different attacks. The depth, I think, maybe something that didn't touch on too much. They have the best skater, the goalie, defenseman as well. But I think the depth that they have with the lines, I think, was what kind of really overpowered the Canadiens. And yeah, the Lightning, the best team in hockey 2 years in a row, it seems like, and they took care of business.
Yeah, and you know, this actually is probably the last year we'll see this Tampa Bay team as it is currently constructed. They were over the cap this year on the salary cap. They're going to have to offload some players in this offseason. They can't afford to keep the current roster as it is. Their head coach even came out and said this is likely the last time this whole team will be together in the locker room after they won the cup. So it'll definitely not be the same Tampa Bay Lightning team coming back for a three-peat. But make no mistake about it, they're still going to, they're going to have Vasilevsky, Hedman, and Kucherov. You know those 3 are staying. And when you got those 3 players, plus, I'm sure they'll have Braden Point and Stamkos still, they're going to have a chance no matter what. And we'll see what happens, but in my mind, they're still one of the favorites going into next year to three-peat. Right up there with Colorado, Vegas. I like Minnesota. Sneaky. I like Kaprizov, very good player. I like how they played this year. And yeah, we'll see what happens. But, congrats to Tampa Bay. Back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. And to Montreal, they played a good series. That's all I have to say to them,
Yeah, Tampa Bay, the new city of champions. They get another. The Lightning take the Canadiens down. Justin, thumbs down. But hey, 2 wins, Tampa Bay, Super Bowl, and Stanley Cup champs. We are the Lunch Hour Sports Podcast. We're going with another sport here to close out the episode. We're going from the ice to the pitch. Nate, what is going on in football?
Well, absolute scenes right now, Jake. Euro 2020 has just concluded with England losing to Italy in a penalty shootout.
No!
The Italians have won it in London. It just ended right in front of my eyes. Great save on the final penalty by the Italian goalkeeper. Italy, they are the champions of Europe. The Euro, for anybody who doesn't know, it's amongst all European teams. They got group stages. Goes down to a round of 16, then, it's elimination from there, 16 to 8 to 4 to the final. Ended up being Italy-England. In Italy, who I believe have been the best team this tournament, have definitely looked like it, have indeed won the final on a penalty shootout. Thrilling stuff. Unfortunate for England, who have not won a major tournament final since 1966 in the World Cup, so it's been quite a long time since they've won a tournament, and it looks like they will not be winning it today. So, unfortunate for them, but Italy have won it. And then on the other side of things, in South America, Last night we had the Copa America, which is basically their version of the Euro. It's all 10 South American nations playing in a tournament to see who wins. We had the final last night between Argentina and Brazil, the two heavyweights of South America. Neymar versus Messi. I didn't get to watch that game, but I did see some highlights. The final, Messi got his first international trophy. Argentina won 1-0. Angel Di Maria scored the winner. Good for Messi. He deserves it. They were in the 2014 World Cup final against Germany, and they couldn't quite pull it out, the Argentinian team. You know, they've lost the past 2 Copas they were in. They were in the finals of both. They lost them both. And Messi, you know, devastated, came back, and he played a great tournament. Most goals, most assists. He had 4 goals, 5 assists in the tournament, and they won it. Got his first international trophy, major tournament trophy with Argentina. It's been a long time coming for him. So it now puts him level with Ronaldo. Him and Ronaldo both have a trophy for their country, so I know it's going to spark debate amongst the Ronaldo and Messi fans of the world. Who is better? But, you know, just enjoy them while they last, because both guys are getting up there in age, and it's good for him. I was actually happy for him to win that. As a Ronaldo fan, I was happy for Messi to get that. He deserved it. He deserves it after all the work he's put in for his country. But that's where soccer
coming
stands.
from you being the Ronaldo fan, I was thinking how you would react there. But yeah, great for Messi. Yeah, as you say, these guys kind of getting up there in age. They're gonna be hanging up the shoes, as you will say, soon. So it's great to see them getting to the top. For what could be some of their final times. Italy, get out the spaghetti and breadsticks, celebrate all of the Europe boots. They did it. Here we go. Italy taking down England in the Euro 2020, and Argentina in the Copa America taking down Brazil. And with that, we are done. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Lunch Hour Sports Podcast, and thank you, Anchor, for continuing to sponsor the Lunch Hour Sports Podcast. You can find future episodes of the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, not to sound like a broken record, but thank you for listening.